Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Friday rolls around again on the bus. And of course, if Phil and Liam are on your screen, you know what that means. It is that Friday feeling on the Boise bus once again. The games still continue coming thick and fast. It is Celtic in action tomorrow against Hibs away at Easter Road. So we'll be talking about that, obviously. We'll be talking about the game through the week, giving our say on that, and just in general, the Champions League campaign as a whole. And might have a few other wee stories in there about maybe some contract extensions in the future, some rumours doing the rounds today. So yeah, we'll have all the usual Friday feeling shenanigans. But first and foremost, as I say, it's always Friday's tradition. If I'm on, this guy isn't too far behind. He is the wise man of the bus, and he's Canada's favourite Tim. How you doing tonight, Liam?
Brilliant. There was a few big games this week. There was a big game last night where Canada took on the USA. They were getting all right up themselves and very much like a Rangers Celtic thing. Anyway, we put them to the sword last night, and Alistair Johnson's pal, guy he grew up with, Connor McDavid, was there to score the winning goal, and it was an absolute peach.
Nice. Good stuff. Glad to hear that one. So yeah, Alistair Johnson, I'm sure, was that'll put a smile on his face after the week he's had. But yeah, we'll be talking about him and the other heroics of the Celtic team, because he was one player in particular I thought through the week was fantastic. But yeah, we'll get on to him and the rest of the team in due course about the Bayern game. But first and foremost, of course, before we go any further, you know what you can do, folks. You can do all that good stuff. You can help out the channel massively by hitting the like button. Helps us out in the old algorithms, as I keep saying. It'll allow the bus to be recommended more to people who watch Celtic podcasts. If they happen to watch them a lot on YouTube, there's a better chance the Boise bus will pop up in their recommended videos, because YouTube loves an active channel. So thumbs up equals activity. So please do that. Of course, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. That always helps us out as well. And remember to hit the bell notification to be notified when the bus is on the road. Get involved in our chat tonight as well. Let's see who's in the chat this evening, shall we? Let's do a roll call. So we've got Jim C. He's in. Joe Henry is in. Russell, our very own Russell, is in. He's watching from afar. Hello, boss. How you doing? San Fran Celtic is in. Topical, yes. Welcome aboard, San Fran Celtic. Who else is in tonight? Let's see. Monty is in. Yes, Monty's spotted it already. I agree. Graham Tyrrell. Who else have we got? Jim Dolan is in, and Graham Tyrrell's also, I'm sure, armed with the with the klaxon as well. We might get on to him. We'll see. He didn't really feature through the week, did he? So, there's maybe no reason to speak about him. Who else we got? Ian McIntosh is in. Spell the Glove is in. James Kennedy's in. Yeah, a lot of the favourites are all in today. A lot of the classics are all here. So, yes, welcome aboard, guys. Thanks for choosing us on your Friday evening. And what else can you do? You can share the link of the Boise bus far and wide on whatever social media platform hasn't bumped itself to the ground yet. Many of them are at the moment. But, yes, if you wish to share the link, that'd be great. And you can still head over to piesports.com and you can still use the code BUS1888 and you'll get 12.5% off all your tasty pastry treats. Yeah, well, I said, Dan, do you want a wee player teaser to start the show, Liam? Get the brain stimulated.
Aye, let's go.
Player. Of course it is. So today, I think it's quite an easy one. When you see the clubs, you should get it. But hey, let's do it up. It is 6 teams he's played for in his career, and they are Dunfermline, Celtic, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Aberdeen, then he went to Falkirk, and then Partick Thistle. So don't shout the answer out just now, Liam. We'll come back to it at the end of the show. But yes, tonight's mystery Celt behind the Boise Bus logo: Dunfermline, Celtic, Wolves, Aberdeen, Falkirk, and Partick Thistle. There we go. Okay, so well, that's said and done. Let's get this Friday feeling on the road, Liam. Let's get cracking. So obviously the big story, we'll have our say on this one. The Champions League exploits are over for another season. Our European adventure comes to an end. A screeching halt in Munich. A heroic performance. I don't think it's hyperbole to say that. Celtic didn't go there and just shut up shop and just try to survive in the game. They had a proper go. And again, it's not, I say, hyperbole to say that Celtic deserved better than what they got. But you make your own luck at times. And as I've said before many times on the show, Liam, Celtic doing Celtic things in Europe, you'll get the bingo card out. There's always some story, either it's self-sabotage by ourselves or something hard luck happens to us. And yeah, it was totally hard luck, because I could not believe what I was watching in that first half, Liam. Couldn't believe it. So I went into the game like Mary, just like, God, what's this score going to be tonight? I expected a repeat of the first leg, where Bayern controlled it for large parts, but this time they would probably put us away as quickly as they could just to get the tie over, because I believe they were also going to be playing. I don't know if they played them last weekend or they'll play them this weekend, but they had a big game with Bayer Leverkusen. I know all their games are pretty big, because obviously in Germany, such a competitive league. And so I thought they want to put us away quickly. I could not believe the chances that we had in the early part of that game. And you're just like, you just fear that a sucker punch, you know the inevitable is going to come. But Jesus Christ, man, it was absolutely crazy. It was a mature performance, I think, is the best word to say. When you look at Dortmund earlier in the campaign and what happened there, to go and have a right go to Bayern Munich and properly spook them. They were surprised, as I was watching it. I think Bayern Munich was surprised, but it was a hell of a performance at that point in time. It was amazing to see. Obviously, it didn't end how we wanted it to, but at that point in time, going through that first half, it was incredible. You must have been confident, Liam, at that stage that we were going to do something. Tonight was the night.
I was confident when I seen the team sheet.
Mm-hmm.
When I seen the team sheet and I looked at it and I figured, you know what, that's the best player for every single position. Mm-hmm. And that's the first time I've had that confidence in a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And I thought, anyway, I thought it was great. You don't want to be negative, anything. I will be negative later. But the positive was, it was a team that came out like they had a mindset to them, that nobody was going to let each other down. That no matter what happened, if they went a goal down, anything, I think we could have still done well if we'd went a goal behind, because we seemed to have a difference about us in that game. There was more of an energy. There was a bit more of a swagger. And again, I think that, I'll get to the negative part now, because I didn't see that when we played them at Celtic Park. We had a very good game with them, but I don't know. I think Rodgers should have a really good hard look at himself and why he could have played that exact same team, and he could have done it in front of a home crowd. Everybody was still at the same level of fitness. Everybody was there, but I think it was just, I think the inclusion of Schlupp, I think he was an absolute anchor back there. There was a bit of nerves and rustiness in the first couple of minutes, and then he just sort of his game came down. And that boy he used to play against, gave all the problems. He seemed to have him well and truly sussed. That boy wasn't looking at him like, I'm going to run him. There was no that overconfidence of just get me on the ball against him and I'm good. That was missing. Schlupp brought a physicality and a presence as well too. He was fast in the ball. He was good at the tackle. Oh my God, it was nice seeing one of our defenders getting tight to a guy while he was running at him, getting tighter so that even if he did beat him, you could still get a bit of the body or something. It was just a pleasure to watch. And actually, from both sides, both Alistair Johnson and Jeff Schlupp, moving that ball up the line rather than looking for Callum McGregor or any of the two defenders. The amount of time that we took that ball, maybe, like outside of our 18-yard line, but around about that 18, 20-yard mark, and then making that 10, 20-yard pass up into the position and having our wingers come back and collect it. Even if that ball was just getting pushed out to relieve the pressure, they knew that they had to go back and win that ball, and they were. And I thought that was a big, big difference in our game, because it's the first time I've seen us use those wings, both of them, effectively in the one game. And that was a huge difference as well. Playing Maeda up front, I was really disappointed again that he didn't play him up front in the last game. Big Ida's great, but remember, he's the second striker. We didn't get another striker because we thought Maeda was better. So why move him to the wing? That made no sense to me in the first game. He was an on-form striker at the time, and that's when we were talking about him. He was still hot. He was on fire at that time. So dropping him for the first game, that made no sense to me. So seeing how that team performed in this game, seeing how it even works with the subs coming on, I was very, very disappointed we lost the goal. I think as much as we're giving them all the applause for that, I thought, wow, there's another goal in the very dying seconds. That's a mental thing. That's a mindset, and that's something we need to look at. And I really think it wasn't CCV's fault. It was more of Alistair Johnson not tracking his pal Alphonso Davies. It's not like you don't know that guy's rapid, and it's not that you don't know he scores the type of goals because he plays with him. He's been playing with him for years with Canada. So yeah, that was it. But overall, I mean, fucking hell, it's like, all right, I don't mind getting beat if I think that we've done everything we possibly could to win.
Yeah.
You know, and I felt, yeah, that was a good competitive game, and I enjoyed it. It was a draw. It felt like a defeat. I want to win every game. I want to stay in the Champions League.
Yep.
But I felt good about watching Celtic, and that really sets us up for the rest of the season as well too. I think it gives us an added boost as well, where we're coming back from doing that. All right, let's see if we can put this 3-0 disappointment we had before to bed as well. Because, you know, we've had a great season. A lot of people have had worse seasons, and we need to judge ourselves by how well we play. And, okay, I want to see that swagger back, Easter Road, tomorrow.
Definitely. I say the performance for the week, there were points in time during that second half in particular where you just started to think that just maybe this is going to happen. Obviously, when we took the lead, and then again, it wasn't a fluke. I still think we were very much giving them problems up till the goal. After the goal, obviously Bayern, I think, not necessarily went up a gear, but they had the better of the chances after we took the lead. I think we had the one where we crossed it in and Daizen Maeda got just in front of the defender and got a glancing header, didn't get enough power on it. But I think that was the only real chance that we made after the goal. But the thing at the other end that was starting to make me think that, by the way, this could actually happen here was Bayern were missing chances. Harry Kane going off at half-time. He was quiet in the first half, but he showed how dangerous he could be when he hit the crossbar just about a minute before half-time out of nothing. The ball just falls to him just inside the area, and he just pings it. And right away, as soon as he left his foot, you're just like wincing because it's like, this is in, and it hits the crossbar, and you're like, okay, survived that one. And then the second half, you've got moments like Goretzka getting a diving header inside the 6-yard box, puts it by the post. And another one, I think it was Sané, cut inside on his stronger left foot, and he bends it for the top corner, and again, it just goes by the post, and you're starting to think, by the way, this is everything's going away. Normally, I say, oh, look, Celtic doing Celtic things in Europe. Always things just go against us somehow. We just lose terrible goals. We give away stupid goals. We cause it ourselves, give away penalties, red cards. But for some reason, something was in the air where you were like, they're missing a lot of chances here. Just maybe this is it. This is going to be the scalp we've been waiting on. But no, in the end, it was just a switch off at the end. It was a great save from Kasper. Goretzka again getting in there with a header like the one earlier, but this time he gets it on target. Kasper saves it, and I don't know. CCV hesitates for a second, but I can't blame him too much because he's had a heroic performance like all of them have on the night. They were absolutely fantastic. From front to back. Daizen Maeda, I mean, the goal itself, like, he's got no right to win that ball twice the way he does. But again, just his resilience, his persistence, just fantastic the way he tracks that down. It's one of those ones, as it was happening in real time, and me and my dad were watching it, you kind of sit forward because you think something's going to happen here. And I remember he was running for I think it was with Kim Min-jae, the South Korean defender, and he's going for that one. And I'm like, he's going to get this here. You could just see he's just got an extra yard on him. And of course, he slides in and wins it just in time. And I think it's Kim Min-jae that tries to recover as well, but Kuhn steadies himself brilliantly, composed. I mean, you could easily crumbled in that situation, faced with Manuel Neuer in front of you, one of the best goalies of his generation, if not the best. And puts it past him, no problem at all. Fantastic. When I see the defence, Johnston, Schlupp, for Trusty, it was a bit like the performance when we played at Atlanta. A lot of balls into the box. He was just getting up there, heading it away. I liked how brave they were as well. I know at times we get a bit uncomfortable with the passing out for the back, but Celtic were breaking their press quite well. Like, Bayern were obviously trying to press us, and Celtic weren't afraid to still pass it out for the back, get it to McGregor, turn, move the ball quickly with Bayern players closing in on him. It makes it a bit uncomfortable to watch, but we were doing it, controlling it well, and it was an absolutely heroic performance. But sadly, in the end, it's just a game. Well, we're now playing a game of If buts and maybes, if we took it to extra time, would we have had the legs to last the 30 minutes? Who knows? Would we have snatched it in extra time? Again, who knows? Could we have taken it all the way to penalties and then it have been in the hands of the gods? Again, we'll never know. We'll never know. We were denied that opportunity. But overall, I think it's safe to say that Brendan Rodgers sat 2 years ago when he got unveiled and said, I want to make us do something in Europe. I want to make us a force in Europe. No longer whipping boys, which we've been for too long. And I think when you look at the way this campaign's played out, it's safe to say that Celtic have got something going on here. Far from the finished article, far from perfect, but we're making strides in the right direction, Liam.
Aye. I think we're giving ourselves an awful lot of platitudes. I think deservedly so as well. Funny though, when we get to that level, I thought that referee was absolutely howling. We're looking like we should be expecting to play that way every week. We should be talking about how bad that referee was and how much of a non-call that elbow to the face of Maeda was.
Well, yeah.
The fact that they got away with that, where all the cameras, where if you look at the stuff that we've had guys sent off for, we've had well, look at Maeda. 2 weeks ban for coming up behind me and just giving him a nudge on the shin. And meanwhile you get guys flinging it forearm smashes and stuff because they know he's rapid, they know it's at the end of the game, and that guy was puffing out his arse, so of course it's going to try and impede Maeda's movement, and for that not to be looked at when everybody could see it on the main screen. You didn't have to go back, and you got a player lying on the ground by himself and the linesman's right there in line with it. How do you miss that? And so it just shows you as well, when we get to these parts of the tournament, we're going to have to be a bit more cagey as well.
Yeah.
I think Maeda should have just stayed on the deck the entire time until...
Because the referee checked him. I remember when he went down and there was a bit of a shout from the Celtic players, you could see the referee looking at him and pointing at him like he's asking him. I don't know if he was asking Maeda, and maybe Maeda has, but we can't see this off the screen. Did Maeda maybe give him a sort of thumbs up or something? I don't know, because if he'd stayed down a bit longer, maybe the referee would have had no choice, because technically speaking, I know it's an out-and-out head knock, but, it could be seen that way. But is it a case of we just weren't cute enough in that instance, where it's just a case of just stay down and just try and stifle them? But you do see the referee spot something's happened, and he's pointing towards Maeda, like he's got his whistle in his hand, like he's asking him something. But again, I don't know if Maeda off camera has maybe given him a thumbs up, or he's began to get up off the ground and he's just said, I'm okay. Don't know. Can't see it off the screen.
Every big team in the tournament's getting that call, Phil. Every big team. And you see it there. And you do see a bias towards the big teams as well. They tend to get away with a lot more. And so, all right, let's become a big team. Maybe that's the answer,
Well, maybe we don't want to become too big a team, because one of the points I was going to make tonight was, again, about fine margins in football, and we look at what could have been, or shoulda, woulda, coulda, ifs, buts and maybes. Last week I'd mentioned about the league section, where we finished on the same number of points as Juventus. Had we finished one place ahead of them, maybe if all the goals that went in against Young Boys actually counted, and if we got the penalty, our goal difference would have been better. We would have finished ahead of them, and that would have put us in a pot with AC Milan and PSV Eindhoven. So you'd look at that and go, that's much better than Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. No, AC Milan get knocked out by Feyenoord, and PSV done Juventus over 2 legs. So even at that, maybe it's not a good thing to be a big team, Liam, because but what that says to me, from a Celtic point of view, is if they types of teams can take they types of scalps, then why can't we? I don't think, again, it's hyperbole to be sitting here and saying Celtic are capable. I mean, I say PSV Eindhoven beating Juventus over 2 legs, Feyenoord knocking out AC Milan. Again, it's like teams for the Dutch league. I mean, it's the Dutch league outside of the big 3 in Holland, right? Is it much better than the Scottish league? So Heerenveen and all that, all these types of teams, come on.
Yeah, I mean, so if you look at it right now and you look at the parity across the type of players that are playing for all these teams, it's no more just national anymore. They've got players from all over the place. So, at this level, this is what you want to see your Brendan Rodgers and all that stand up and show that elite level of coaching and in-game strategy and substitutions and that. And so I thought his tactics were bang on. the night. As you were saying, I was like the fact that we're beating their press. I was like the fact that we were creating chances.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it just looked a different system. And I think that goes to having Maeda up front, where you've got that. You're not having to beat the press in the same way you have to do it from the wings when Ida's in the middle. They're rattled. His reputation now is that they're always looking for him and always got an eye on him and that. And then Jeffrey Schlupp at left back. I mean, that gives us a different dynamic. And I think you saw it in Trusty's game as well. Trusty and McGregor too. I mean, like, they weren't having to run about and overcompensating for inverted shitebagger, what we call him.
There's another team I just forgot, by the way, Chilpul's just mentioned as well, Club Bruges, who we drew. He says, I'm still pissed at the Bruges and the Zagreb scores. I mean, see, to be fair, the Bruges result at the time after getting the result against Leipzig, we were kind of downbeat after drawing with them. But look what they did through the week. They beat Atalanta quite handsomely in Italy after beating them. I think they beat them in Belgium as well. And then they went to Italy and they were 3-0 up the last. I think they were on 1, but 3-0 in the end. But yeah, so they've turned out to be no a bad team at all. The Zagreb is definitely one that we did get it wrong. We should have pushed again. And that again is the fine margins. If we'd got the 3 points there against Zagreb, that would have took us above, I say, Juventus. But as I say, we would have landed in a pot with either PSV or AC Milan in that case, and that wouldn't have been a guarantee. To be fair, there's no easy games at this level. There really isn't. You've got to look at it that way. Teams that have got through to these stages are there for a reason. They've done well. They're a good team, and yeah, Bruges, I say, they were one of the ones that showed it. And I think in the draw today, I think they got Aston Villa as well in the next round of the knockout stages. So I think they might have played each other during the league stage. That's the thing about it. There's a lot of repeat fixtures that can happen now, and yeah, no, but I say we obviously we will not be there. But hey, we want to be there again next year, Liam, because after that format coming in, I was quite cynical at the start of the season. I was kind of like, does the Champions League really need this? I was kind of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But watching this format and the way it played out, it kind of highlighted that the Champions League format was quite broken. And I think it's been a real breath of fresh air. And we don't want to miss out on this again. Now, of course, we do have a qualifier to go through in the summer, one round of it. We're in the playoff round. But yeah, we want to be back here again. Because I say we've shown that we now can actually compete at this level again. And yeah, the only thing that was missing this season was a real proper scalp. I suppose Leipzig being a top Bundesliga team, although they had a generationally bad campaign, as much as fans of certain other clubs are always going on about, they played 3 teams that finished in the bottom 3. I said that a few weeks ago. The supercomputer at UEFA's headquarters didn't know this. At the end of the day, Cristiano Ronaldo just pushed a button and it generated the fixtures. That was all it was. Did Peter Lawwell rig the machines? Is that what they're trying to claim here? Did we get is it some kind of big conspiracy? It's like the computer just gives you your fixtures and that's it. We didn't know that Leipzig were going to have a generational stinker, but their fixtures were horrendous. But that was easily, I'd say, the best performance over the piece. That was a sensational night. I think when we played them at the time, I think they were second in the Bundesliga at that point in time. So it wasn't too bad going. But Liam, for you, the general sort of like how the campaign played out and best moments or performances, what's the one that will be the last in memory from this season's Champions League for you?
Oh, I mean, definitely the Leipzig game. Honestly, I really liked Adam Ida's goal against Young Boys. I thought it was just, I was starting to really doubt him where he was like, into playing for Celtic or that, you know what I mean? If he'd, probably just grew up supporting Liverpool his whole life, like a lot of people do, and we just assume they're Celtic fans and stuff. But I just liked that goal because it was at home and you could see how important it was to him. And so I'm still hoping as well that he kicks on from there, that we get to see a player now that really wants to take up that position and be idolised and stuff. I love the variety of the teams. I mean, travel agents must be fucking I will play this, gives you a chance to go and visit some new countries and all that if you're one of the fans that gets to travel with the team. So I even get a chance, might even see him in Bulgaria next year, if Ludogorets get through or we get them in the qualifiers. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think we'll see what it's really going to look like when we get to the last 4 teams. Very much you you can sort of predict who the last 4 teams are in any Champions League. You know, like the ones everybody's sort of like betting on.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see who those 4 teams come to, and again, what sort of, you know, is there a chance to see an underdog team go through and win it? And if it does happen this year, which I would love to see, will that make the big teams want to change it? The Man United's coming in. Oh no, I don't like this. You know, these young upstart renegade teams coming in. You know?
Oh, they were definitely the most vocal early on in the tournament. It was fans of teams that are, you know, regulars and at this level that weren't happy about it, because there was lots of big ties coming out. The way the fixture list worked, it was like you'll get 2 teams from pot 1. Even if you're a pot 1 team, you will still get 2 teams from pot 1. You get 2 from the second pot, 2 from the third pot, 2 from the fourth pot. So that was how it all worked out. So there was some heavyweight fixtures during the league stage. You had like Man City and Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, AC Milan all in the playoff round. Meanwhile, teams like Aston Villa went in directly into the next round after that because they finished in the top 8. It really mixed it up and freshened it up. And also, I totally forgot about this, but yes, Bruges did beat Aston Villa during the league section. That's the one when Tyrone Mings had a total brain fart and just picked up the ball and gave away a penalty. So now they're playing each other again now over a 2-legged tie. So could Bruges upset them again? We'll see. I say they've shown that they're actually quite a handy team, Bruges. So in the end, that point against them was actually quite a good point. But the Zagreb one, I definitely would agree that was one that we should have took full advantage of on that one. But yeah, people in the chat are saying, you know, just again about progress. It's been exactly what we wanted to see. You know, Paul McGuck said that here. We're progressing. That's what we wanted. Treble this year and move on again. Yes, the T word. It's very much on the table, no doubt about it. Monty saying his favourite moment is without a doubt just the other night, the performance away against Bayern. Again, if we can put up performances like that, we need to build on that for next season. We want more of it. I think Brendan Rodgers said the players had a well-deserved beer after the game back at the hotel, and he, you know, just told them how proud he was of them and whatnot. But yeah, they want to go again. They'll be hungry for it next season. And yeah, hopefully as well, it allows players to see that Celtic aren't just a stepping stone for like a year, 2 years, and you move on. If we can start to be a consistent, you know, force in Europe again, getting good results, especially at home, taking those scalps again, making Celtic Park the fortress that we remember it being years ago, then yeah, it makes it a more attractive prospect for players coming in. And speaking of players coming in and whatnot, few contract rumours going around. So Jeffrey Schlupp, who we talked about, he's obviously been asked about the future. What does the future hold for Jeffrey Schlupp? And I think already a lot of fans have made their mind up that they'd like to keep this guy around. He's a seasoned professional. He won the English Premier League with Leicester City. He was in their squad in the 2015-16 season, played over 20 games for them. So he wasn't like a guy who had one fleeting substitute appearance and happens to get a winner's medal. He was a part of the team. Obviously along with Kasper Schmeichel as well, but he's came in, he's obviously starting to get a bit of fitness now. He had a good performance through the week. He is a utility player as well, which is quite a rare thing these days, somebody who can plug into a few positions. He's on a free transfer at the end of the season. So, I mean, that's one of Peter Lawwell's favourite words. That's one of the Celtic board's favourite words. Their 2 favourite words are free and profit. So, you know, I don't think they make a profit on it, to be honest, but hey, they get him in for nothing, then I think it's a no-brainer. But Jeffrey Schlupp's always been asking, his quote was, we'll speak throughout, Brendan Rodgers said about it, we'll speak throughout our time here and communicate, and we'll see what develops. Jeffrey Schlupp had said, anything beyond this loan spell is out of my control at the minute, which does seem a bit of an odd comment because he is a free agent in the summer. Right now, he can negotiate with anybody. So I guess he's maybe just keeping his options open. But I think Brendan Rodgers, I know he was quite coy when he was asked about it, but I think Brendan will want to keep him, given that Brendan also confirmed that in the summer, we made a move to try and bring him up here. So he's obviously keen on him and got him up here in the January window. I say free transfer. We've got Kieran Tierney coming in as well in the summer. I think Jeffrey Schlupp's shown that he can be a very, very able backup, Liam.
Aye, so it'll be interesting to see where else he plays utility-wise, because that middle of the park, he looks a unit, right? I'd love to have seen somebody with a stature, you know, like a Wanyama again or something like that. You know, somebody that can just sort of have a bit of presence. I think sometimes we get a wee bit bullied in the middle of the park. And, you know, so he could be a good option there. I think, yeah, he looks... He just looks good on the ball. He gets the ball and he lifts his head up. He was looking for forward passes. He was looking for teammates. You know, I mean, the only other thing is you know, it's only been 3 games. I thought Ambrose was a player when he came here. 3 games, I thought Effie Ambrose was Maldini. You know, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. So, you know, as long as he doesn't have an Effie, I think he's good. And that means, you know, will he get spooked? Will he get spooked by the Greg Taylor's ghost of seeing out all the ghost of Celtic left backs?
No, if Greg Taylor isn't here next season, which looks to be the case.
But you can still see him off this season, you know. You've no idea.
Well, true, yes.
Involved in the Greg Taylor mindset to get 100+ games for Celtic. Mental. Anyway, I think it looks great there.
Well, San Francisco Celtics added this. The way Trusty performed alongside Sloop was no accident. Many times, Liam, wise man, you have highlighted it loads of times that usually when Greg Taylor's playing, the left-sided centre-back is usually targeted as well, and it's an awkward game for them. So San Francisco Celtics on your wavelength on that one, that Trusty, you know, he picked up. Because am I right in saying, did Alex Vallier play against Atalanta in the away leg?
Yes, he did.
He did. And that was one of Austin Trusty's best games in a Celtic shot, because Austin Trusty had a bit of an iffy start, but that night away in Italy, he was a colossus at the back, and it was like, I wonder if it's maybe because, you know, it's a different left back as well, so the left side of our defence is maybe a bit more rigid, maybe. I say, who knows? But yeah, you've said it many times with Liam Scales and Greg Taylor together that it usually results in problems, but San Francisco Celtic, I say he's on the same wavelength as you, so we'll see what happens with Sloop. There's a comment here that I saw that was interesting. No deal after says Sloop will move to Saudi. Well, again, he's keeping his options open, it sounds like. I found it interesting that his quote was, anything after this loan's out of my control at the minute. Well, no, it's not, because you're not going to be a Crystal Palace, but you're in the last 6 months of your contract. You can sign a pre-contract with anybody right now. So it's like, so he's obviously just keeping his options open. We'll wait and see, but I'm confident it'll happen. I think Brendan, you know, I say he's not going to give too much away, but I think Brendan will be, you know, in his ear. And if Brendan tried to get him last summer, then obviously there's a history there. So yeah, hopefully he can keep him there. And it's not even a case if he's coming up here and he just sits on the bench in every game. He can play a few different positions. That's going to be handy because, you know, when injuries and suspensions set in, you need somebody that can plug into a few different positions and cover. So we'll see on that one. But in terms of other contracts as well, Brendan Rodgers was asked about staying on beyond 2026. The 3 years that he talked about, I've signed a 3-year deal and kind of kept it to that. A lot of fans are obviously saying that we need to try and get him, you know, sorted with a new deal, get him here staying longer. And the contracts, as we've seen over the years, Liam, you know, Brendan Rodgers signed a bumper deal not long after he first came to Celtic, and well, we know how that went, and all the players that we obviously tie down as well. At the end of the day, it's Celtic mostly protecting their assets, but I suppose with this one, it is very definitive that he will be out of contract on this day, because his first time around as manager, it was the classic 1-year rolling contract that he signed that every manager did. I'm quite sure in saying that this is the first time that we've brought a manager in where, well, in a long time anyway, that I can remember, that it's not been a 1-year rolling contract. It was a very definitive, he signed for X amount of years, because like Lennon first time around was 1-year rolling contract. Dyler, Brendan say first time, Ange, Neil, so it's always like a 1-year rolling contract. This is the first time we brought in a manager where it was like he signed a 3-year deal. So obviously we now know a definitive end date to this one. And yeah, he's when he was asked about it today, again, just keeping it very coy, because I don't expect Brendan to come out and, you know, give too much away, but he just kept on using the term. We'll obviously talk about that. We'll do what's best for Celtic was always the line that he was using. So, Liam, is Brendan Rodgers for a few more years best for Celtic?
Never. I mean, it looks like it. It looks like he must have a more elevated deal with the club, and maybe even Dermot himself. I mean, maybe there's an ownership part or something coming in here to play somewhere down the road, because I think that would be the sort of incentive you'd have to give him to stay. I mean, it's not always my cup of tea.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. You've had a few pots.
Many times. I mean, again, he made an arse here playing Taylor as long as he has. You know, no trying to fix the left back position rather than just trying to change Greg Taylor. You know, Scales could have played there. I'm sure he could have done much better, grew into that game better than what he grew into the left centre back role, because that's what we got him as, was a left back. So, aye, it does drive me nuts now and again. I don't think his recruitment's been great. Maybe it's just because it's not been robust as I'd like it to be. I was hoping he would get more guys in, and more guys that look like a Rodgers guy, rather than like somebody that either he'd had experience with, or somebody that that he's watched and has a really good understanding of their game, but maybe a bit about their character as well. So yeah, I hope he stays, but I just hope it's part of an overall development at Celtic, where we're getting away from this mindset that we're this like provincial club, being run, by the guys that all went to the same school, into a more global phenomenon. And we're starting, okay, let's, we looked how we were portrayed in the Champions League, and let's look at how we're developing, because that Champions League, by the way, even over here in Vancouver and Canada, every bar's got it on. Every bar's watching Champions League. And that's just not Vancouver, that's Toronto, Calgary, all these places, and that's everywhere, North America as well. Prime had it on most of the televisions on North America, which is Amazon. That was their first ever presentation of football. It was interesting. They didn't show the Celtic end once because it was a Palestine flag.
Right, okay, is that why?
Right. So that was really interesting. I seen we had all the brass there as well. Saw Dermot in the crowd, that sort of thing. So I think there's a big plan right now. Like I think they've been listening to the bus, obviously, on a Friday, definitely. They've heard some of our conversations before, and they're going, you know what? Punk Doug Warlord with a weird name. That makes sense, Right, let's get a proper left back in. Let's play our best centre forward up front. Let's wear the hoops every time we can. I thought that camouflage strip was hard to see. So,
of course. Well, do you want to know the hilarious reason as to why we had to wear that and why Bayern were wearing their away colours?
Why?
So UEFA are in a bit of a dispute with Bayern because UEFA are very pernickety, shall we say, with some of the rules, right? I mean, I see it at Celtic Park, right? So there's the whole thing about the music. You can't have any other tunes playing after the Champions League anthems played and all that sort of stuff. I've seen nights when the substitutes come out to warm up at Celtic Park. Now, I sit down at the Jockstein end. Traditionally, the Celtic players will always come down to the Jockstein end and warm up, but I've seen times where we officials of UEFA have told them, no, you have to go and warm up at the other side, and it's both sets of substitutes are warming up at the same time. So they've got these really pernickety rules, and one of the things that they're very particular on, apparently, is the numbering on the back of shirts has to be really clear. That's why when Celtic play a European game, they've got a big white patch over the green hoops, because it makes it easier to see the number on the back. You'll notice when we've got a European night, the back of our shirt is covered in a big like white patch, and then you've got the name and the number. So Bayern Munich's kit, because earlier in the game, the commentator had said something about UEFA are not happy with some text on Bayern Munich's shirt, which I thought, that's a weird reason. I need to look this up. So apparently because Bayern Munich this season, their home shirt is red with black. It's like a black font. That doesn't, the UEFA want it to be a white font so it's easier for the viewers to see, and it's like that's the reason why. So Bayern Munich apparently are banned from now wearing their home kit unless they change it, which they're just like, nah, don't really change it for something tedious like that. Genuinely, that is one of UEFA's crazy rules. I looked it up and I was like, that's just typical UEFA. I see some of the tedious stuff that they do, but yeah, apparently that's why. So we were wearing, because they were wearing a white kit, we had to wear away colours, and the camouflage. Although I will say, seeing it now in under the floodlights in 2 games now, I think it looks excellent in that shirt. I was a bit iffy on it at first when it got unveiled. I was like, I don't know, but see, you watching it against Villa and seeing it the other night, I think under the floodlights in particular, I think it looks fantastic, that one.
See, I was at a disadvantage in the game because we don't usually watch games during the sunlight,
Yeah.
The Champions League. And so we're watching it on one of the big screens, and you're watching it at 4 a.m. It's crystal. And that time there's a wee bit of sun on it. And I had a hard time seeing the Celtic players. You wonder about that as well. I mean, I always liked playing in the hoops, when either playing fives or some of the teams I played on. Because it was really easy to track a run or know where your guys were. You just had to do like just a glance, and you could see as well. I mean, it's the same way. Anytime I took my kid to Disneyland or one of the giant theme parks, I always stuck the hoops on them because I could see them a mile away. It's not like Scotland, right? I see my kid on about with green and white hoops on, and I could see miles in the swimming. I always knew where it was, you know. Yeah, I thought the strip. I don't know. I wondered how it would look in real time because I thought it looked like one of the things like where Ferguson pulled base strips off them at half time because
that's right. So he did, yeah, against Southampton.
And I've always wondered about that sort of psychology. You know, like when you look at the visual aids that you get and you're looking for every bit of difference. You know, the fact that we play in the green and white hoops, I really think that adds to each other. Like when we play in that home strip, it's easier to see other Celtic players on the field. You know?
Well, so it's literally camouflage, you know, the idea of camouflage is not to see people. So, but no, we definitely found our man many times on Tuesday night because we dominated play at times as the passing was fantastic. And yeah, say we can be encouraged by that one. But moving on then, because say there's still a lot on the line this season. The European adventure may be over for another season, Liam, but still very much a lot to play for. The treble is still on the table right now. We're the only team that can win it because we won the League Cup this season. So yeah, it's literally ours for the taking. Obviously, our noisy neighbours, they, you know, it's quite funny how they've been piping up about us losing to a world superpower like Bayern Munich when, you know, they get knocked out of a Scottish Cup by Queen's Park, who had one shot on target all game. Yeah, fantastic that. But yeah, so that's opened the door up there. I mean, realistically, if they were even still in the tournament, we would still be the favourites, I would say, to win the Scottish Cup. But hey, it's a bonus that they're out now. So I think we're left with, I think St Johnstone are still in it, Livingston, we're obviously playing Hibs at Celtic Park. Hearts are still in it. Boo. Hate them. Who else? Did Motherwell get through? Oh, Aberdeen are still in it, and Queen's Park are obviously in it for obvious reason. Yeah, Queen's Park are there. Queen's Park, the second favourites. So yeah, I mean, realistically, we should be looking to win that. So that, but we'll deal with that in due course. But yeah, we're in the business end of the season now. The run-in starts now. Some big fixtures to come up. Most of them at home as well. We've got teams like Hearts, Kilmarnock, Aberdeen, Rangers, all to visit Celtic Park, and that has been, you know, we've been fantastic there for the last 12 months. I think March 16th should be quite a tasty one when it rolls around because, you know, there's going to be some vengeance in the air when that one comes around after what happened at the start of the year at Ibrox. But yeah, that's all still to come. But tomorrow it begins with a trip to Easter Road, a stadium that's a bit of a strange one for Brendan Rodgers. The last two games he has won there. You know, we won last season 2-1 with a very, very late penalty. With Adam Ida, he scored a brace that night. 2 penalties, in fact, he scored. But remember, he got a penalty right at the death. It was Kyogo was fouled right on the line, and then it went to VAR, and it was deemed a penalty, and Adam Ida scored. And earlier this season, we won 2-0 there, and it was 2-0 going on whatever we wanted it to be. The early part of that game was an absolute onslaught, and at that point in time, I was looking at Hibs and going, man, they're a sorry sight, because I think for the first month of the season, you know, it's so weird that it seems so long ago. Aberdeen were pushing us at the top of the title race. Hearts and Hibs were the bottom teams, but Hibs have actually got the shit. I thought David Gray was a dead man walking. I was like, he's not going to last. Hibs sacked their managers quite a lot, so I just thought, well, he ain't going to do much better. They'll get rid of him in due course. But he's turned it around. They're sitting fifth in the table. The last domestic game they lost was to us in December. They've not lost a domestic game since then. So they've actually turned that around. But I say Easter Road can always be a wee bit of a tricky one. But I think now that Celtic and Brendan know what's ahead of them, what's on the line, first and foremost, I think, obviously we've still got a job to do, but I think when you've got that motivation, so you could be our 9th treble in our history, I think the players will be up for every game going forward.
I think you just have to win it now as quickly as possible. Let's not mess around. Let's give ourselves a chance to... well, first of all, I think we're starting to... Rodgers is what looks like a settled team. The fact that Yanks came on a wee bit as well, even the fact that he now becomes a viable option rather than like just a groan when he comes on. Now, it's actually, I'm looking forward to see if he's still going to develop. You know, the boy obviously had talent, you know. So it'd be interesting to see that sort of stuff. But I think we go with our strongest teams especially against Hibs as well, as you said. Yeah, they went a full cycle without getting beat, except by us. I thought they were very unlucky against Rangers. They drew Rangers, right? That was 3 each.
3 each it was, yeah.
Right, so they were very unlucky there as well. I think tomorrow's a good test, but it's also a very, very good way for us to make a statement and just put the foot down for Rodgers to come in again. All about intent. It's all about momentum, keeping it going, just getting out there and then crushing them early. And I think you do that by starting your strongest team, and that means Mayada through the middle and Big Jeffrey Schlupp at left back.
I think Ida starts tomorrow because I think Kuhn might be just rested as a precaution because obviously he went off. He did train today. But I think they'll probably keep Kuhn on the bench because we've got a quick turnaround. But it turns out that this coming midweek is the last midweek game, I think, till after the split, because we've got Aberdeen on Tuesday night at Celtic Park. We've got that, and then I say we're finally free of midweek games. After the split, there's always one game that's always a midweek fixture, but I think that's not until April anyway. So yeah, this is the last one coming up. But yeah, we couldn't go off through the week against Bayern. Just after the goal? It was only a few minutes after it, wasn't it? I think he may just be put on the bench and really only brought on if really required, if we're in that position, but hopefully we're not. But I think it'll be Jota, and I think Ida will start, and Maeda obviously will start. Yang is an interesting one that you bring that up, because I did feel it's just a hard one with Yang. Like, I know that obviously last week against Bayern when he came on, he did look, very direct, and he was up for it, and he was causing them a few problems. And yeah, it could just be that because it was a Champions League game, there's a bit more space. So maybe instead of playing a 10-man fist, because also he played Dundee United at the weekend, and he played there, and he was quite anonymous really in that one. So it's a tough one with Yang, but obviously he's here. He is a Celtic player. Brendan has shown more faith in him over the course compared to Palmer, because obviously Palmer was pushed out the door in January, so it was clear even when Palmer was here, Yang was always still getting the nod. But I do feel there is something there. Tuesday night was interesting when he did come on, because there was a few times where you could just see the drop-off in quality. At times he was trying to take on like 2 and 3 Bayern players at once while they're all crowded around him, and it's like, you're not going anywhere. You're not getting anywhere with that one, pal. But he's obviously got that pace, and you always think when a player's got that turn of speed, there's going to be something there. There's going to be a danger. I just want to see more end product, though. A good run here and there is great, but I want to start seeing assists. I want to start seeing goals out of him if he gets a chance, because when the summer transfer window rolls around, Brendan will have questions to ask about Yang. Is it worth us keeping him? Do we loan him out? Because he's to say right now, any chance he gets now in the end of the season, I think he is playing for his Celtic future, essentially. But he's got to start putting in the back of the net. A wee run here and there, beating 1 or 2 players, but then running out of players, something's no good. He needs to actually have some end product for me, Liam.
Aye, same as well. Like, get involved physically as well. You never see him tracking back and battling with midfielders and stuff like that, like we see some of the other boys doing. And you want to see your wingers doing it. Even Jota gets back and puts in a tackle now and again. And he's not the best for that. Yeah, I think we just need to see him. I didn't know Kuhn was injured, so.
Well, he trained today anyway. He was training, he was pictured, so he isn't like a long-term injury. I guess Bernardo's the only one that's got any sort of lasting injury. He's out for another 5 weeks or so. But no, Kuhn obviously get taken off after taking a wee bit of a knock on Tuesday night. But he was training today, so he is okay to play. But I think they'll just keep him on the bench just in the event, and maybe have Jota and Maeda with Ida through the middle. And I do think with Ida, I know you're saying that Maeda's the number 1 striker. I still think Ida's the main man, because he is an out-and-out number 9. Maeda can play there if needs be. He's competent at it. But right now, I think Ida's playing where, now that he's been told you're the man, Kyogo's gone now. And I think, last week in particular against Dundee United, that goal that he scored was just out of pure anger. It was a good moment. It was a great goal. But like only minutes before that, he passed a ball, I think, sideways or back the way to Carter Vickers, and there was a few groans from the stand, the thing that Brendan highlighted a wee while back. And then within 30 seconds, like, he obviously picked up that ball in the edge of the area, and I think it was just frustration and anger. And it's like, I want to see you play. I want you to have that, that fire, because you've said before, he has got that sort of nonchalant type demeanour about him. But I think since Keogh's left, I think he's looked like a transformed player, because he's now been told, you are the man, you are the number 9, the main striker now. So for me, I think you need to keep him going.
Yeah, but Phil, I don't think he is. I think
really?
my main striker right now. And
Maeda's on form, no doubt about it, but I still think he's a winger who can play striker if he can, if he needs to, he'll play there.
Striker, that's where the Japanese play him as well. I think what we see with Maeda as a striker there is, look at the goal we scored against Bayern. We're not going to score that goal with Ida there. In fact, there's no many strikers in the world that will be able to chase down balls like that. But he gives us that X factor that no other team, very few teams have a player like that are that rapid, that can actually have the bravery to chase down a ball between centre backs and win it. And we've seen him do that against Rangers. We've seen him do that in other jobs where he's just decided he's going to go for it, and he's good at getting a tackle in so that the ball's bouncing off towards him. And Bayern was a perfect example of that. And I think the fact that we didn't sign a striker wasn't because we had Ida. I think it was the fact that we've got a really good striker in Maeda who can also play wing, rather than the other way around. And I think Ida just has to wait till he gets his chances. He does okay, but I'm a lot more comfortable with Daisen Maeda starting than I am with Adam Ida.
But I do need to point this out. I don't want to be pernickety, but Ida was on the park when we got a goal. Jota had gone off at that point. Remember? No. So Ida was there, but I know he wasn't. Well, he was involved in the goal in some capacity, because it was him that played it to Maeda. Maeda then chased the ball down twice and set up Kuhn. But I say right now, I just feel like Ida, that is your only position. You can only play for there. Maeda's got the luxury of being able to play competently in 2 positions. So that's a useful weapon to have. But again, if it was to be believed as well, what we talked about last week, I mentioned the Bratislava striker. We did, and Morris came out this week, that we did make a move for him late in the window. It came out, there's further stories came out about that. So we were looking to get a striker, but it looks like we didn't appease Slovan Bratislava with the structure of our deal, it seems. But there was moves made, but given that we've raked in about 38 million apparently from this Champions League campaign, then there really shouldn't be any excuses now when it comes to transfers. But apparently it was the structure of the deal that they didn't like, with the amount up front, plus you'll get this if this happens, and all these contract clauses. So there was moves made in the January window to get a striker. That boy David Sterlik from Slovan, it was Slovan Bratislava, wasn't it? Yeah, that was the one we played. Yeah, so there was there. But I say right now, it's good headaches for Brendan to have. Maeda has obviously shown that how good he can be through the middle. I think Ida's playing like a different man right now that he's got that chip on his shoulder. But yeah, we'll just tomorrow I think it will be Ida will start, and it'll be Jota will get more game time because he needs the game time, I think, and Maeda will be up front. And yeah, it's full steam ahead. It's all go now towards the treble. We know what the target is, the end of it. I think the players, they don't need much motivation, going forward. There's obviously a lot of noise still coming from certain other parts of the city about this, that, and the next thing, and what they're going to do, and money coming into them and whatnot. And again, people will say things like, these quotes that come out, or pin that up on the dressing room wall and all that. Celtic don't need to even pin it on the dressing room wall right now. We know how good we are. We know we're the best team in the country, and we know what lies ahead. So for me, it's just simple. I mean, we're already history makers. We're winning 8 trebles. But yeah, we'll just go and add to our own record. It is an exciting time to be a Celtic fan, Liam, without a shadow of a doubt, mate.
Aye, exciting times for us, exciting times for everybody right now. I've got San Francisco on the chat. Is everybody buzzing in San Francisco right now? The chance to...
I've seen a few people asking him what's going on there. I've seen a few people asking what's happening here. Yeah.
Spill the beans, man. Tell us what's going on.
Aye, tell us what's going on, man.
I watched just a wee bit. Don't talk about them much at all, but I'm a live ball man. It's a Rangers fan, right? I remember watching was it the Battle of Britain, and it was like Rangers Leeds at one point, and I think Rangers over 2 legs. It was in the old Champions League, and I remember they were really good games. I watched with my dad. My dad really enjoyed it, and just think my poor dad would be rolling in his grave right now if he thinks his beloved Rangers would become a Leeds United feeder team.
Well, San Fran Celtic with an ominous message is always telling us they're in for a shock, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Ominous.
Supposedly they're one of the worst run teams in the NFL as well.
Oh, Jesus.
I heard Catholics, by the way. So,
all right, okay.
Maybe they'll build them a chapel, something like that as well.
Oh dear. That's I don't know how well that will go down in certain circles. We'll wait and see that one. But I say right now, we're in a good position, and it's not a case that suddenly we're going to be skint. If that does go through, we've still got lots of money. Hey, Liam, it might prompt our board to be just a little bit more proactive when it comes to transfer. See, I just talked about 30 seconds ago about David Sterlick saying, they weren't happy with the structure of the deal. Maybe then if there is a bit of competition, a bit of financial competition, maybe the Celtic board will go, we'll push the boat out a little bit more with these the structures of these deals. We'll wait and see. Maybe it'll prompt them to, act like a big club. Act like a big club, as we always say. I've said that enough times on this channel. We don't need to spend stupid money. We don't need to go crazy, because especially financial fair play is obviously something that's hanging over every club now, where UEFA and whatever governing bodies are always watching. So there is all that now you've got to take into account. But Celtic never don't need to spend stupid amounts. They just need to spend sensibly. We've had too many random punts on guys at 2 million, 3 million quid, hoping that it comes off, and it doesn't. But see, like last season, we're bringing in Arnie Engels at £11 million, and I'm quite happy to see that. I think Engels is really starting to come on now, and I think next season in particular, he'll really, really kick on. But he's starting to show, I think, after a wee bit of a rocky spell. But it's like, there you go, £11 million we invested in that guy, and it's like, see if we make 1 or 2 signings like that every summer transfer window, like really push the boat out for like 10 plus million. Don't need to spend 10 million on 5 different players. I say just these random punts in the hope they become good. Just really do our homework and scout these players out. And again, it'll just keep taking us to another level. And if you've got a team that can put up performances like that through the week against teams like Bayern, then you don't need to worry when it comes to playing teams like Hibs and St Mirren and St Johnstone. These games will take care of themselves. So if you can compete in that level, then our league is a piece of cake. And that's what we need to do going forward. So we'll see if they do that. But before we go and do our predictions for the Hibs game tomorrow, obviously I'll do my guess the player from the start of the show. I thought it was quite an easy one, but I'll get the graphic up again for anybody that came in late. And it was this one. So the player had played for Dunfermline, Celtic, Wolves, Aberdeen, Falkirk, and then ended their career at Partick Thistle. Liam, who's hiding behind the Boise Bus logo tonight?
Is that Jackie Mack?
It is a very young, fresh-faced looking Jackie Mack. Look at that. And also, that shot is swimming on him, by the way. But I've heard him tell this story about when he signed for Celtic, the picture that they got him in. You can find it on Google Images if you look it up. The article's there. Honest to God, it is like a bed quilt or something like that. It is ridiculously big on him. But hey, the Celtic shirt doesn't shrink to fit inferior players. Jackie McNamara grew into the shirt, mate, because he was a great player for us, man. Fantastic. I'll talk earlier on about Schlupp being a utility player. There, on the screen right now, there is a guy that is a utility player. Because he came in, he could play right back. I think he played right midfield quite a lot because we still had Tom Boyd at the time. He played in the middle of the park under Martin O'Neill. Because remember the 2001 Scottish Cup final, he came on against Hibs when Lubo went off injured, I want to say. And he scored the opening goal, but he was playing centre mid when he came on that day. But yeah, Jackie McNamara was an excellent player for us, man. Any standout memories for you, Liam, on Jackie?
No, I still like seeing Jackie on the media and all that as well too. He's always one of these guys that comes across as just a proper football guy, and like on the park, he wasn't a standout player. It had some standout moments and that sort of stuff, but he was just one of the people that helped the identity of Celtic. He was just that hard grafting, no nonsense. Looked like it could be a good laugh when he needed to be, and enforce a wee bit of, you hear him talking and some of the things. He sound like Hardy bastard as well, like if he needs to. I think all the boys were in that O'Neill's team were all tough, I'm hoping we're seeing that with Celtic right now. We're building that toughness as well,
A few people are also highlighting his goal versus Liverpool in the UEFA Cup, the game we played at Celtic Park. We drew 2 each for them, then we lost. No, we drew 0-0 in the game at Anfield and went out in away goals. But he scored against Liverpool that night. Simon Donnelly scored the other one, if I remember right. He scored a penalty. But I remember there was a game that I went to. It was like the 96-97 season. I got to quite a lot of home games that season. I wasn't a season ticket holder, but we knew somebody that was able to get his tickets, and this was Tommy Burns' last season as manager, but we had Di Canio, Van Hooijdonk, Cadet, Andy Tom, and you still had guys like Jackie McNamara. What a great football team that Celtic squad were to watch. And I remember us beating Kilmarnock 6-0 in a midweek game, really cold January game. And Jackie McNamara scores an unbelievable goal. It's so easily forgotten, but it's out there on YouTube, where he just runs onto it and hits it with the outside of his foot, and the bend on it just swears right up into the top corner. It was astounding. I think it was the first time I'd seen a player score with the outside of their foot. That technique. It was fantastic. But yeah, he was a great player for us. And to say a Scottish talent as well. What was it, 600,000 or something from Dunfermline when he was signed. And he was a consistent under Burns. Then he played under Janssen, then Venglos, then Barnes, Dalglish, and Martin O'Neill. And he was there throughout, despite all the big personalities that were in all those different teams. Jackie McNamara was always there. So, yeah, he was a good player, Jackie. So, yeah, he was our mystery player tonight. Now, before we go then, predictions, Liam. Hibs tomorrow, Easter Road, a walk in the park. Will it be a wee bit of a tricky one? How do you think it's going to play out?
I think we should have been enough to handle them. I think if we keep playing this new system, play them like we played Bayern, I think we'll beat them 3-0 away from home. I think want to see more of that passing going up the wings, and I really like guys in in the middle, basically putting pressure on both centre fullbacks, and having their wingers just track those guys. So that's interesting to see. Just if there's going to be a change in the style, when you can see that we're getting away from the horseshoe and the going back to finding a more direct route through the wings as well.
Yeah. Well, everyone in the chat is quite confident. We've got a 5-0 Celtic leader hat trick from Graham Tyrrell. Oh, there we go. 3-0 Celtic from James Keddy. Smell the glove. I think this is true. 2-1 Hoops. Just get the 3 points. Yep. That's all it's about this season. But if we can have a good performance, even better. San Fran says it'll be 4-1 to Celtic. Patrick McLaughlin says 4-2. Jim C, he says 3-1. That's what I'm going to go for as well. I think Hibs will nick a goal at some point, but I think we'll go on and beat them 3-1 in the end. Because, yeah, all it's about is just keep getting the 3 points. We win that game, we'll be 16 points in front of Rangers before they've kicked the ball. And then we just keep on plowing through these games. Say March 16th, get it marked in the calendar, get it highlighted, put a big red circle around it. Looking forward to that one when it comes around. They say that'll be an interesting watch. But yeah, that's still about a month away now. So yeah, well, that's us done then. That's another Friday feeling in the books, Liam. So yeah, we will head off now. Thanks everybody for tuning in, watching us, and hope you enjoyed your Friday feeling with us. But Liam, what's the last thing you wish to? The last word?
To Graham Tyrrell, yes.
Oh, let me see. What's Graham Tyrrell?
My dad's name was William.
Oh, there you go.
Dennison.
Right, okay. You said aye. Yeah, that makes sense. Liam, of course. But yeah, we're heading off, folks, on that bombshell. Guys, we're going to head off into the distance now. So I hope you've enjoyed your Friday feeling. And enjoy the game tomorrow. It's a 12:30 kickoff. So yeah, I think the next time we play Hibs as well in the Scottish Cup, it's going to be Sunday, 3:00. Oh, I hate Sunday games at Celtic Park at 3:00. But anyway, that's in a few weeks' time. But yeah, tomorrow, 12:30. It's on Premier Sport. In case you're wondering as well, if you're here in the UK and you can't see it on Sky Sports listings tomorrow, it's because it's on Premier Sport. That's why. So look out for that if you've got access to it. Or if you've got other means of watching it, then enjoy it however you manage to see it. And yeah, we will catch you later, guys. And enjoy the rest of your Friday nights and enjoy your weekend, whatever you're up to. I'll catch you later, guys. Cheers.
Good luck.